Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. This one I wanted to address something that, I've seen it off and on in the forums for a while. And most recently I saw a thread about it. It's the whole hybrid versus superpowered spec for controlling. Now, there's a lot of people, like I know if you watch the old troll guide from that Kuro did, shows the actual math on why hybrid is the most efficient. I still firmly believe that hybrid is the best spec to go, and I've got a little kind of crude test to show you my rationale behind it. But the other thing is that when I see these threads, I always see the same kind of like argument made or the same kind of like rationale people use to back up their arguments, and that's like, oh, I've been controlling since 2011, so trust me when I say that this is the way to go. I've seen that used tons of times in tons of different threads, but the reason why I laugh a little bit inside about that is when I think about it, or what I would say to those types of players would be, take Trexlight. Trexlight's been playing the game since 2011 too, and he's just as trash now as he was back then. So playing the game since 2011 really holds no merit whatsoever in terms of dictating skill and backing up your arguments. So basically, I've got two specs here. They're both the exact same. I'll show you both armories, but it's going to be hybrid spec, max power crits, 205 into power, and 159 into vit spec. I am on no sort of buffs. I'll eventually obviously have the artifact buffs and stuff like that, but so would any other spec. And just to show you, we'll go into the superpowered spec, and you'll see there, superpowered spec, same thing, 205 power, 159 vit, max power crits. And what I'm going to do is I've set the parser to 60 seconds. It's obviously, the other part I should mention is ignore whip thrash in this rotation. Light blast you can't instantly clip, so for the sake of this test, I'm not using it. All the other control power sets would have instant clip debuffs, so that's why I have whip thrash in there. Normally I wouldn't use it in my controller rotation. But essentially, I'm just going to do a 60-second parser. Ignore the power summary. This is basically just like a time thing. And you'll be able to see that I'm just as low on both specs, but I can still continue doing my rotation regardless of being hybrid or super powered. And I'll kind of explain the results after that. So this is going to be the hybrid test setup first. Hybrid. And I'm just going to maintain my rotation, flipping each time. And the reason why I say ignore the power summary is the power summary counts the power that I give back myself with my weapon regen. So it makes those results. Lightweight there. Right, so as you can see, the 60 seconds is there. And while I was low in power, I could still keep maintaining my rotation because the weapon regen I get from Solar Flame is just enough to continue the weapon regen for Solar Flame as well as using powers. But that regen is just enough to maintain my rotation, even though it looks super duper low. And I've got supercharge, I've got sodas, I got supplies I can still use to keep myself powered. If I needed to, obviously. Now we're going to go into Superpowered here. Same thing, once my hit counter reaches 60, you're going to see myself dip into like fairly low power, just like I did with Hybrid. That's the 60 seconds. So as you can see, I'm just as low power regen as I am with Superpowered Spec as Hybrid, but I can still maintain the rotation. So it's not like giving power to myself is any better with Superpowered or Hybrid. They're pretty much very, very similar. The only thing that matters is the minor differences. So if I go, so for example, in a hybrid, and this is a Superpowered Spec. If I go to my stats, I'm sitting at 47,000 power. I'm sitting at 10,264 vit. I'm sitting at 7685 dominance and 7969 resto. Now, if I go to hybrid, so I'm in hybrid right now. If I go back to my stats, I'm sitting now, obviously my power pool's lower because that's what Superpower does. But I'm sitting at 10,602 vit. I'm sitting at 8,058 dominance, and I'm sitting at 8,355 resto. And that's because of the hybrid bonus. I'm getting 5% dominance, resto, and vit. So the difference is, if I'm looking at a Superpowered Spec, dominance and resto you may think is used as a control, but it's not. Not only does it help my shield, but it helps my supercharged shield as well, which I'm earning, every 30 seconds as a controller. And then the 5% vit turns out to be, not quite 400, but almost 400 in that vit range. And when you think about it, the generator mods are only 106 vit each. So you got, basically, think of it yourself, you have an extra 4 generator mods of vit to help you. So in the end, you're giving up more power to the group because your vit is higher, while still maintaining your rotation as hybrid and having stronger shields. Now, if I look at the Superpowered Spec, all it does is give me an extra power pool, and I get more self-regeneration. It's not like I'm helping my group power. I'm not giving more power to the group with that regeneration. I'm just helping myself. So I can maintain my rotation just as easily with hybrid as a Superpowered Spec can. I ran out of power at the exact same times as you guys saw. Now, the other thing you may mention is that while you're using a hybrid rotation for Superpowered Spec, you have to use this rotation. Well, technically you could use dual pistols as well, but you have to use dual pistols or hand blasters to maximize your power dumps because it lines up with the animations. The other thing is, if I change tabs here, if I do a solar flame combo, I just healed myself for 74 power or 74 supercharge. So if I'm using another weapon combo that's slower or it doesn't give me as much supercharge, I'm losing out a massive supercharge regen because if you're thinking of a Superpowered Spec, you're thinking, well, I regen by powers using powers. So if I'm hitting snap trap, if I'm hitting I still have light blast in here, but even if I hit light blast and then clip it right after, I'm not even getting anything. So we'll kind of wait for it to show up. So if they clip off it, I'm getting that's 30, 42 power right there, where I'm getting 74 with Solar Flame. So if you're using a Superpowered Spec and not using Hand Blasters or using this rotation with Hand Blasters in between your debuffs and your cooldowns, you're losing out a massive supercharge regen for yourself, which in the turn is going to give up more power to the group anyway because your supercharge will give up power and shield yourself. So that is my rationale behind always using hybrid over superpowered. Not only can you maintain your rotation just as much, because if you think about it, it's not like I'm doing anything special. I'm DPS modded right now. My shoulders, my head, and my elite procs are all procced for DPS. So if I change those to control, like when I'm a pure controller, I'm helping my regen out even more, and as well as my power. So I can regen just as easy with hybrid and superpowered, but you will 100% give out more power in a hybrid spec. The only way superpowered is more beneficial is if you want to be like a lazy or like laid back, stress-free controller. If you don't have to worry about maintaining solar flames throughout your entire thing, if you don't want to do that, or if you think that's too hardcore or whatever, then yes, you can use a superpowered spec because you don't have to. Because if you're not doing solar flames with hybrid, you're going to run out of regen. You have to be doing those weapon combos. But at the same time, you have to be using those combos anyway to help your supercharge. So, if you want that lazy, laid back approach to controlling, take superpowered. If you want to, give out the most power you can as a controller, which is what I do and what I hope other controllers want to do, then take hybrid. And if someone else tells you otherwise, tell them to shut the fuck up.